speak, I had this real trembling happen inside me because I felt, like she said, I was coming not just to speak from Maria, but to speak from the land that I belong, Elada, Greece. And I feel I stand in front of you as an act of what we call the new diplomacy, which is just a simple citizen of one country, of one land, coming to speak to citizens, simple citizens of another land, and to meet each other in that place that the boron drum just beat in us. That place where our hearts break open and our souls break open. I want to speak of how I feel the future is now. It's not somewhere distant. It's right here, right now, and I'm really seeing it happening in my land. And it's happening through the deconstruction of a system that we all know is dying, but for the interest of a few is being kept. And for some of us and our lands, we're being hung so that system can continue. And I think both our people and our lands, unfortunately, are part of what's being hung. But I'm here to speak and to call us to stand with the ancestors that stand behind us. We come from ancient people. Hellenes, Hellenes, Celts. We come from people who have left for us codes in our songs, in our poems, in our dances, in our families, in the way we know how to be in relationship with life. Not with metrics that say who's employed and unemployed, but in the soulfulness of knowing how to dance with life. I want to tell you the story of what we've been living in Greece, and I invite you to listen to what might be helpful for yourselves here in Ireland, what might touch the same chord, and what might help us to actually unite in what we're living and the future that we're living. From 2010, we Greeks have experienced a very, very rapid shift in how we're viewed, from being the birthplace of Western civilization and democracy, the motherland tongue of the word Europe, Evropi, to being the enfant terrible, the bad children of Europe, who are corrupt, lazy, and should be punished. And so it's been a very, very rapid and almost, I can't really explain it, it's like we kind of lost ourselves in a free fall of what it felt to be characterized as those that have gotten it all wrong. Our response was to reach right into the soul of our resistance and our anarchic souls. We are anarchic people. No one will control us. And so what we did is we took to the streets. We occupied Sindagma Square, which is our Constitution Square right opposite our parliament. And for 3.5, 4 months, a new world existed in this square. It was completely based on self-organizing. Everything took place. People helped one another. We protested non-violently. Our police, called the MAT, met us with such violence, I can't even express it. We gulped down chemical gas that is illegal by the European Union. And our young men especially were beaten brutally and even tortured once taken in. Sindagma was violently cleared in the early hours of the morning at 3 a.m. in August. And I remember being there in the morning when I was watching the municipality kind of grass over in 45 degrees heat the area and make it look beautiful for the tourists once again. We then went into a second phase. The protests stopped. Many of us were paralyzed. We didn't really know what was happening. We started to see more and more homeless people. People that used to have jobs. People that just couldn't pay their rents anymore. We saw our suicide rate go up by over almost 200%, including an older gentleman of 75 years old shooting himself publicly as an act of social action in Syntagma Square. We saw our youth unemployment rate go up, and we saw even our working age unemployment rate go up. We saw people scrabbling in the garbage looking for food, and this shocked and horrified us. But through the paralysis, something new started to happen, and this is the future. There's still seeds. It's still nascent. It's still very new. But I'm so proud of the future that I'm seeing in Greece. And what it takes is it just takes us to put a different lens on, to take the lens of poverty and victim off, and to put on the lens of the subtle and the sacred, and to see how we are finding ourselves in our humanity in this deconstruction. And I want to share some of that with you. How is it happening? Syntagma was shut down, but Syntagma did not stop. The self-organization that started there went into the neighborhoods. Every neighborhood in Athens has neighborhood groups. They're there to help the homeless. They're there to help the people that can't do things for themselves. Our health system is completely shot, but we have community clinics, doctors who are working for the love of healing once again. We have community pharmacies. Pharmaceutical companies are not selling medicines to our pharmacies because our national health system is not paying for them. So we share what we have with one another. We have complementary currencies springing up all over the country where people are sharing and caring, exchanging. Who needs the euro? Theaters, public parks, vacant lots that are being threatened by development scavengers are being taken over by citizens, and they're being guardianed. We are planting olive trees in the old army bases that were the American bases where big development was wanted to happen. We're taking over theaters and running our own plays. And political parties are starting to lose their power. It's citizen agency that is really starting to happen. The word political comes from the word polis, which means city, and the word politis is the word for citizen. So we are starting to have polites citizens, not just politicians. And we've got initiatives like Politia 2.0, where two young women, like Mary Karadza and Stefania Xivaki, are actually two young women, 25 years old, 33 years old, have stood up and said, we have an undemocratic constitution. We're going to create a new one. And they're calling it, and citizens like yourselves are coming to events like this, but they're creating a new constitution. We're returning to the land. We are actually going back, and we are finding ourselves in our land. And we're starting to do what we need to do. I myself have started to do that. We know we do not have a democratic government. We know we live in a new form of globalized dictatorship and colonialization. We know we are being raped economically and socially for a dying system for the interest of a few. We know our land is being sold, including some of our ancient sites. Yet, we also know that we are making a sacred life. We're picking it up with our hands, and we're handcrafting it. We are excavating the dirt in our fingers, that old code that I spoke from our ancients and our ancestors. And we're going to keep going. Because in Greece we say, "Irlanda potete pefeni." Greece never dies. The system is dying. We're not dying. Ireland is not dying. And by the way, well done, Dublin. You won today.